The recent police raids on Indian news portal NewsClick and the subsequent arrest of its founder and editor-in-chief, Prabir Purkayastha, under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, has raised concerns about the erosion of freedom of speech and expression in India. The media fraternity has appealed to the Chief Justice of India, emphasizing the need for the judiciary to protect democratic values. Legal scholars argue that courts have a duty to safeguard the democratic process and integrity, ensuring that democratic conditions, including freedom of speech and expression, are maintained. Failure to address violations outside constitutional texts may jeopardize both the Constitution and the court's identity.
Pooled procurement by the central government for drug procurement could revolutionize India's healthcare system. A recent paper, A National Cancer Grid Pooled Procurement Initiative, India, demonstrated the viability of this idea, resulting in significant savings for high-value medicines. Group negotiation, uniform contracts, and purchases by hospitals associated with the National Cancer Grid saved 13.2 billion rupees. Centralized procurement can address issues related to price efficiency, stockouts, and quality concerns. Implementing this approach on a larger scale could reduce costs, optimize fund allocation, and ensure the availability of life-saving drugs in India.
The Supreme Court of India's refusal to recognize same-sex marriages under the Special Marriage Act (SMA) is a significant setback for the queer community. The five-judge Constitution bench declined to give a gender-neutral interpretation to the SMA, leaving it to the legislature to enact laws for same-sex unions. While Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul acknowledged the right of queer couples to seek recognition, they didn't amend the SMA provisions. Justices S. Ravindra Bhatt, Hema Kohli, and P.S. Narasimha held that recognition should be based on statute, aligning with the government's stance. The LGBTQA community faces a continued struggle for legal equality despite the court's directive for the government to form a committee on queer couples' rights and entitlements.
After New Zealand's national election, the Conservative National Party and its Libertarian ally ACT have won most of the votes, positioning the country for its most right-wing government in years. Labour Party, led by Prime Minister Chris Hipkins, experienced a significant drop in support, with its share collapsing from 50% to 27%. Former Labour leader Jacinda Ardern, widely praised for her handling of the COVID-19 crisis, stepped down in January, and dissatisfaction with the economy played a role in the party's decline. National Party leader Christopher Luxon, focused on the economy, plans to address economic challenges, inflation, and high interest rates. He faces the task of balancing pro-business policies with addressing long-standing issues like homelessness and inequality.
The new schedules of the Wildlife Protection Amendment Act 2022 in India have been criticized by ecologists for including a large number of species without an objective or replicable process. Schedule 1, conferring the highest protection, includes around 600 species of vertebrates and hundreds of invertebrates, while Schedule 2 contains about 2,000 species, causing confusion about resource allocation and prioritization for conservation efforts. The Act's impact on people is significant, especially farmers and cultivators, as species like wild pigs and nilgai are elevated to Schedule 1, restricting culling policies. The paperwork involved in research permits is tedious and time-consuming, affecting environmental NGOs and citizen science initiatives. Ecologists urge attention to conservation, people's issues, and research, prioritizing human lives and livelihoods, tailoring management actions, and ensuring ethical data collection.
The political landscape in Haryana is heating up as the 2024 general elections and the state assembly polls approach. The Congress Party, the main challenger to the ruling BJP-led government, is making strategic moves to expand its voter base. Leader of the opposition, Bhupinder Singh Hooda, has promised 4 deputy chief ministers from different communities, including one woman, if the Congress forms the next government. This move is seen as an attempt to gain support from non-Jat communities, a key factor in the BJP's rise to power in 2014. The Congress aims to adopt an inclusive approach and is also pushing for a caste census to address social and financial disparities. The ruling BJP, facing anti-incumbency sentiments, needs to unite its factions to maintain its hold in the state. The Jat vote bank, traditionally divided among various parties, remains a significant factor in Haryana's politics.
A parliamentary response in August 2023 highlighted that only 4% of professors in higher educational institutions, HEIs, belonged to the other backward classes, OBC, category. This figure was interpreted both negatively and positively. The positive interpretation noted a significant increase in OBC professors and associate professors over 3 years. However, considering the constitutionally mandated 27% reservation for OBCs, the data highlighted the ongoing disparities. Analyzing appointments from 2020 to 2023, certain central universities demonstrated varied efforts in implementing OBC reservations, emphasizing the need for more concerted initiatives, particularly in institutions like IITs and IIMs.
The Financial Times reported that the Adani Group allegedly imported billions of dollars of coal at prices above market value based on an examination of 30 shipments from Indonesia to India between 2019 and 2021. The report claimed that the observed prices in import records were significantly higher than those in corresponding export declarations. The group allegedly paid a total of $4.8 billion to 3 middlemen, Hai Lingos in Taipei, Taurus Commodities General Trading in Dubai, and Pan Asian Trade Link in Singapore, indicating substantial premiums above market prices. Adani Group denied the allegations, citing an open and transparent bidding process for coal procurement in India.
World leaders at the SDG summit reasserted their commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, acknowledging the world is on track to meet only 15% of its 169 targets. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development estimated a $4 trillion investment gap in SDGs in developing countries, with $2 trillion needed for energy transition. A lack of synergistic action in the face of significant evidence has hindered progress. While policies recognize synergistic outcomes, barriers persist, such as the misalignment of renewable energy targets. Comprehensive analysis of SDG interventions is essential to bridge these gaps and achieve sustainable development.
In an article dated 5th April 2023, Rohin Bhatt challenges the arguments against legalizing same-sex marriages in India. Bhatt asserts that queer people deserve equal rights as cisgender heterosexual individuals and that interpretations of statutes can be creative in favor of fundamental rights. Bhatt dismisses the notion that marriage laws necessitate procreation, emphasizing that both parties in a queer relationship are aware of their inability to procreate and that social infertility should not be a basis for denying their rights. Bhatt concludes by affirming that legal recognition of queerness and love should be celebrated, not opposed.
Faculty fellowship programs in India, designed to attract and retain scientific talent, are struggling to integrate into the mainstream scientific landscape despite their potential benefits. These programs, initiated in the past 2 decades, aim to facilitate independent research careers, retain skilled researchers, and bring diverse skills to the scientific enterprise. However, faculty members appointed on fellowships often face challenges accessing resources and are sometimes treated as secondary to permanent faculty members. The undervaluation of these fellowships hampers the longer-term vision for Indian science, leading to vacant teaching positions in key institutions like IITs and central universities.